Hello and welcome to BizQuik. I'm Corey.
And I'm Julie.
And on the podcast today, we have JHedges of JHedges Consulting. His firm focuses on robotics and warehouse automation, and he's out of the greater Philadelphia area. Welcome, Jeff.
That's right. You're listening to BizQuik. This is where Julie and Corey provide quick and useful information to small business owners. BizQuik is the podcast where small business owners get to showcase their businesses and receive expert advice and guidance in areas many entrepreneurs struggle with. And you, the listener, get solutions, tips, and tricks on real-world topics that many small business owners face. Julie and Corey are the experts small businesses hire when they need solutions. And the BizQuik podcast is just one way they deliver those solutions. Let's start the show.
Hey, good morning, Julie and Corey. How you both doing?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm hunkered down in my office at home for the last 8 months, but the good thing is that what I do online is it makes it very easy, right? So it's easy to reach out to people, chat with people, do podcasts, send out emails.
Yeah. So you started your consulting firm during the pandemic, correct?
Yeah, I had, so I've been kind of going whole on it since the summer. I left a position where I was president of a robotics automation firm for a little over 8 years. And things just kind of fell into place. It was the perfect time to basically lend my 30 plus years expertise in that industry to startup companies and new businesses that are looking to get into the robotics field and warehouse automation, but also work with venture capitalists and private equity firms that are investing and even vendors that are rolling things out too.
Excellent. So how's it been going?
Good. On the warehouse automation side, vendors I talk to, customers I talk to, they are absolutely killing it. I mean, their business is booming. Suppliers have backlogs going into 2022. Business is different now. They have a new set of challenges, right? But in my industry, which is heavy on e-commerce, right, with the growth of people buying from home, and not spending money on going out to dinner and shopping and things like that, but on quote unquote stuff, that is a positive for this particular industry in this current environment.
So tell us a little more about, who your customers are, what kind of work you do for them, that type of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So I work with three different sets of customers, I guess. One, I'll act as an advisor for venture capitalist investment firms that are looking at making investments into new automation technologies. And right now, my industry, it's all about autonomous vehicles within a warehouse space, robotic picking and artificial intelligence. And there's literally hundreds of companies in stealth mode or startup mode throughout the globe that are looking to get into this industry and apply their point solutions. I also work with the startup companies, helping them understand the industry, helping them make introductions, many of them helping them understand how to structure a business, right? They've got a great idea, but they really don't have experience, setting up the billing process, or how do I set up a sales process, or how do I approach customers and things like that. And then also working with established vendors who have a lot of great ideas or new product launches that they're looking to get launched into the industry as well.
Excellent. We like to say that all it takes to start a business is money, right? And a lot of people, when they're starting out doing a small business, have no idea all of the work that goes into it, or everything that you really need to do to build a strong foundation. it's great to know there's someone else out there that is guiding and directing small business owners so we can have as many successful small businesses as possible. What are some of the common challenges that you're seeing as people are starting up? Are you seeing them get to successful launch?
Yes. Part of it is, do you have a good idea that you're passionate about, right? A couple companies that I work with, and literally they're 4 people, right? I think of one company, it's 2 brothers, and they've got a really nifty technology idea, but they're fully vested. This one brother, during the course of developing their product, actually on the side took a job as a warehouse worker so that he could experience the specific challenges that they were trying to address through automation, right? And funding is tough, right? You start off, you're pulling money from your bank account, you're having friends and families kind of help back you and things like that, but then you get to the point where you need more funding, and that gets into going to the pre-seed phase, finding investment firms that will appreciate your passion about your idea, right? And then lend you money to help you further develop that and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. What other issues are people having right now that you're seeing in your industries?
Well, one issue is it's interesting. It's kind of confusing. Is the availability of labor. Customers, end users, so customers I speak to, from Fortune 50 companies to a small 3PL, third-party logistics, maybe company down the block, are telling me that they struggle to actually find laborers to work in the warehouse, right? And so we scratch our head, because right now we've got, the latest figures are like 10 million unemployed people right now. If there's all these people out of work, why are they struggling to find workers and stuff? And there's many different ideas around it, but part of that number, that $10 million number, was recently reported 90% of those people are in the service industry. So if you think of somebody in the service industry, maybe a waiter or waitress, their major income is from tips, right? You don't get tips working in a warehouse, right? You get a flat rate, and so it probably makes it less desirable to kind of look for that type of constant working in a warehouse type application, right? But the other interesting thing on labor, and that's what I see as the current short-term issue right now, but it seems to be raising a sense of awareness, of urgency, that labor is going to continue to be a problem years moving forward. There was a report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, U.S. Labor Statistics, just this past September, that pointed to the fact that over the next 10, 15 years, the amount of available workers that are going to be reaching retirement age are going to get to the point where by 2029, I think it is, there are more people retired than there will be available people entering the workforce. So I think one smart way that a lot of the customers and clients that I'm talking to are realizing that, one, there's a sense of urgency to figure out how to address this labor content. So they're curious about robotic and autonomous vehicles and how they can supplement and improve their existing workforce. But getting that right now is something that they probably will be forced to grow and expand upon in the future as labor becomes more and more of a challenge to find years down the road.
It's so interesting. This entire year it's been devastating, right, for small business owners in terms of, just being able to stay open, keep your staff on and be able to pay them. And the unemployment numbers are coming down, because I think at one point it was like 20 million, right? And it's been cut in half. But yeah, I question the legitimacy of the 10 million in that I think it's actually higher than that. I just think that there's a significant number of people who no longer qualify for unemployment, or have just kind of given up even looking because there's not a lot of viable options for them. What's interesting is that it always seems to be like the manual labor intensive industries that struggle, because Corey and I both come from, we worked for a number of years in food service for a distribution company and spent a lot of time in warehouses. And it was always a problem for them to find labor. You couldn't keep people. It's just a tough job. That area, that manual labor, people don't like to do that anymore.
Well, and it's not attractive. It's not sexy.
Right. Yeah.
They don't tend to look at it as a career move, right? It's there are the opportunities to move up, but it's a challenging work environment. But I will say that right now, you've got customers that are paying more per hour. They're paying hiring bonuses. It's becoming more expensive for them because they have to invest in PPE devices and various safety procedures. But they are supposed to keep their laborers socially distanced, right? So scheduling, mapping out picking routes, making sure you aren't overlapping one another in a packing area and stuff. Keeping area sanitized, it's a whole nother strategic challenge and expense that they're having to take on too.
Yeah.
What areas outside of like warehousing are you seeing like a lot of interest in automation?
Well, we're all ordering groceries. Well, many of us are ordering groceries online to be delivered too. So you're seeing applications rolled out for autonomous vehicles delivering groceries. And specifically, there's a company called Starship Technologies that I like watching. They look like little mini coolers on wheels, and they have been rolling out at university and college campuses all over the U.S. And they just recently made an announcement of a university in the UK, but over the past 4 to 6 months, they've also started incorporating that delivery technology with some local markets. So they're delivering groceries directly from markets to homes and stuff, right? So this dream about autonomous delivery and drones flying through the air, I don't know if that's going to be as prevalent, but these autonomous vehicles, Starship, Amazon has something called Scout. FedEx just announced they have a vehicle. I just read one today, a company out of the Netherlands, I think they're called Omron. They have a vehicle. There's another autonomous car vehicle company. It's like a smart car that can handle 4 and 5 bags of groceries, so you can get more than one delivered to your house. So that's been interesting. That not only that technology, but you've seen the deployment of that technology starting to take off.
I know that in general technology is good, though lately I feel like that less. I'm less sure of that. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, Jeff. All of those examples that you just gave, I think maybe a couple years ago I would have gotten a little bit excited about it, or felt like I would have maybe questioned like the possibility of it. Now I feel like I need to put on my tinfoil hat and just say that everything is moving us towards nobody leaving their houses anymore. Like
Crazy, isn't it?
It's actually kind of scary to know that there are that many companies that are on the cusp or are already there to provide that service so that people stop leaving their homes.
Yeah, I mean, like, and as we're recording this, the city of LA and possibly the entire state of California is going on a full lockdown. You're not allowed to leave your house except for essential activities. So, I mean, you can't even go for a walk, which, I think is just crazy.
It's kind of frightening. And I know I feel a little, I don't know. I guess I feel slightly bad and maybe uninformed in saying those comments to you because this is your industry. This is where you live and breathe in this space, but I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting mad. Not at you, Jeff, not at you, just in general.
Yeah. Well, so the interesting thing is that I get it. It's like, oh my God, the robots are coming, and you can point to any sci-fi movie where they take over the planet or stuff, right? But so the advantages here, right, to us as consumers, is that I think you'll start seeing a lot of people much younger than I have become accustomed to having their request for items and orders and things they want delivered pronto, immediately, within an hour, right? I don't know that I have to have, a box of Cheerios delivered to me in an hour, but, that's the stage that the consumer's demands have kind of set right now, right? But look at it another way, is that a lot of these companies are testing their technology in the quote unquote supply chain arena. And as they grow their accomplishments, they all have plans to kind of move on to other industries. So what if you had these very smart autonomous robots that were able to assist firefighters, right? You've got a massive chemical fire that has to be put out. You don't want to send in unproven autonomous technology because it might make the situation worse, right? So I can see this being very helpful in natural disaster situations. I can see it very helpful if you have a medical emergency type situation, you have to get medicine or product to somebody who needs it. God forbid another COVID pandemic hits, right? Well, what if we are so locked down that we are hindered in the distribution of vaccines and stuff, right? There are practical applications, and we should approach it with a sense of skepticism, if you will, right? It's good to have because it can fulfill some immediate needs that I have to receive product or stuff, but it also, I see it growing into being very helpful for applications where maybe we've got environments or situations where human interaction is deterred for some reason.
All right, I have a lot of words to say about robots and what you just covered, but first we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, we wanted to tell you about our latest course, Foundation 52, that will be available on February 15th. This course is built to provide tools and techniques every week of the year and is designed to improve your small business. If you're thinking about starting a business, this is a great resource for you as well. We walk you through sales, customer service, disaster planning, growth strategies, and so much more. Head on over to SB Pace to sign up today.
Welcome back. All right, Jeff, you just broke down you gave us a lot of thoughts on the possibility of robots in the future. And I'm not, as much as I love the concept that I might one day be able to have robot legs. I'm not buying, I'm still not okay. I find myself wondering if I'm the only person left on the planet who actually enjoys going to the grocery store. Like, I feel like that's going to be taken away.
I do. It's like a break. It's like a breakaway, isn't it? These days it's quiet and stuff. You gotta. So when we use the term robot, right? Many people right away think of a humanoid-looking beast that you're going to interact with and stuff, right? It's the components that make up a robot. In our industry, many years ago in the automotive industry, robotic arms were used to do repetitive tasks, right? We're seeing them applied to in especially e-commerce, picking, distribution. Is we got that same arm, but they're coming up with very clever what are called grippers to be able to pick up various items. And what they struggle with is picking at the same rate that a human can, right? So when I was saying earlier about we have this feedback that we're hearing that it's tough for warehouses to hire operators to work. Well, if they could find the people that they needed to work, they probably would perform at a higher rate right now than a simple robotic arm. These robotic arms are, bolted in place, and they don't necessarily move around a lot, and they're just picking items. The other quote unquote robot are simply little mini vehicles that you can put a product on top of, and it can transport it from point A to point B. The alternative for that in our industry has been, umpteen hundred feet of conveyor. So now the warehouse operator it's not that they're replacing people for the autonomous vehicles, they're replacing other equipment that is bolted to the floor, takes up space in the warehouse, and requires a lot of square footage. So it's able to reduce the efficiency of the warehouse and allow them to operate in a smaller square footage and stuff. We don't have robots that are like humanoids walking around a warehouse picking up boxes and stuff right now.
Well, you bring up a kind of a point there, not to sound like a Luddite, but what happens when the robots take all of our jobs?
Yes.
I don't think they ever will. I think they'll be task specific, right? I think that I think of a specific example, which is over the road trucking and trailers. Right now, there is a desperate need for drivers. The industry is not able to find enough over the road drivers, right? So if this U.S. Bureau of Statistics that I referred to earlier, these rates hold true, if these numbers are going to continue to increase, then how are you going to transport product from Los Angeles to Chicago? How are you going to transport product from New York to Florida, whatever? How is a major grocery distribution center based in Washington, D.C. going to be able to deliver pallet loads of groceries to all of its grocery centers up the Eastern Seaboard?
Great question. I think frequently about what would happen to our infrastructure if we continue to see the shortage that exists in, I guess what you would refer to as long-haul truckers, right? Because that's a very real situation, and one that we frequently also saw when we were working for, food service distribution, is that those roles are hard to fill. And that's been a problem for years, and it's growing and growing and growing. I don't know how I feel about a robot driving a semi across the country, though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel good about that either.
Don't be worried. There'll be nobody in the vehicle. It'll just drive itself. So.
I know. That doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good about a car doing it on most cases. And now you want to give me like a fully loaded semi? That feels. No, I don't think I'm on board for that either. Basically, I'm in denial of the future. I'm in denial, Jeff.
I hear you. Yeah, you got to keep an eye on Tesla and Workhorse, and there's probably about half a dozen electric vehicle companies there that have semi-trailer trucks that they're successfully testing. Yeah.
Well, I guess I have a brother who drives truck. I have a brother who drives truck over. Let me just say this: I have a brother who drives truck over the road, and honestly, I think I'd rather have a robot drive than him. So I think we're okay there.
Well, just today, UPS announced, and it's all over the news, that they are restricting the number of pickups that they are going to be able to do at major retailers. Right. So that's, how could they correct it? If they hired a couple thousand more drivers and built another couple thousand more trucks and activated a couple thousand more planes. Right. The flip side is, right, the investment in autonomous vehicles, because truck drivers and people who fly planes, they don't work 24/7. They have laws in terms of how long they can be on the road, the amount of time they have to rest and stuff. But, automating, having an autonomous vehicle is going to open the opportunity for that vehicle to operate on many, many more hours, and probably could positively allow them to positively address the situation we're seeing today. So they have to restrict.
How far are we away from having that sort of where UPS or FedEx or somebody's using that type of technology?
Not far.
Like
they're already testing it.
Weeks, months, years, decades?
Years. Yeah, years. Yeah.
I feel like that's just one more way that, like that situation right now where you said that they, sort of listed out they were going to restrict the number of pickups they could do or whatever, just because they don't have the manpower or the resources to do it, that it's just one more way that small businesses are going to get squeezed because they're going to do the pickups for the big guys. It's the little companies that are going to get hurt.
Well, it's so think of it this way. Another way to think of it is that UPS, FedEx, all the major deliveries, they don't make money on delivering to your home.
Right.
They make money on doing the big packages, right? So I would say that small businesses typically have their deliveries in what are called LTL or less than truckload, where they fill a truckload with multiple stops for multiple businesses, right? That could very easily be done with an autonomous vehicle, right? I don't agree that it would affect small businesses. I think that the drive will be all the money that these delivery services are losing by having to do home deliveries to your house, my house, and Corey's house. They don't make money on those deliveries.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to start wrapping it up here. Jeff, if there's one last thing that you want to tell our listeners, what would that be?
Wow. I would say, don't be afraid of robotics. They're not going to come. We're as humans, right? We crave that personal interaction, right? If you have a small business that's service oriented, that's going to come back. People are dying to get out of their house, right? If you don't like working in a warehouse, or that's not a job that really excites you, it's okay. They're going to have automation for that to kind of help supplement that labor. If you're a tech-oriented person, I've got a tip for you. If you want to learn more about tech, there's going to be tons of jobs for servicing, maintaining, managing, programming, running, designing, all of this type of technology out there.
I could go for a job where I am in control of the robots.
There you go.
All right, Jeff, tell our listeners how they can find you.
Oh, real easy. I'm on LinkedIn. It's Jeff Hedges, Hedges, and I have a company page too, JHedges Consulting.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was an interesting and lively conversation, and one that I did not expect to find so much passion in from myself, but I guess I know how I'm feeling about the future and what's happening to our world right now. I want to also thank all of our listeners for tuning in, and you can catch everything about Jeff and how to find him in our show notes.
And you can connect with us on social media. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can reach us going through our websites, sbpace.com and bizquickpodcast.com.
And while you're out there, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast and give us a like and a review. We love feedback.
And feel free to reach out to us about any topics that you'd like for us to cover, or if you wanted to be a guest yourself. And while you're out there, you can buy our book, Seriously Now What? A Small Business Guide to Disaster Preparedness. It was a #1 bestseller on Amazon, and it comes with a digital workbook download.
It does, and it was, and it's good. I'm Julie.
And I'm Corey.
And this was BizQuik, helping small businesses across America.